For 31 nights, a man stood at Ethan's front door and never touched the bell. No knock, no ring, just 4 minutes of silence. Then he'd turn and walk away like clockwork, like he already knew the camera was there. The first alert hit at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Motion detected. Ethan opened the app already, half asleep, and froze. A man in a dark jacket, hood up, standing dead still, facing the door. 4 minutes, then gone. He told himself it was a fluke. It wasn't. The next night, same man, same time, same 4 minutes, down to the second. A stranger doesn't accidentally return to the wrong porch on a schedule. By the second week, Megan had noticed the alerts too. She guessed a neighbor, a confused delivery driver, someone waiting on a ride. Ethan wanted that to be true, but nothing about it varied. Not the timing, not the stillness, not the way the man kept his face angled, just out of the porch light's reach, like he'd studied exactly where the lens could and couldn't see him. If a small detail has ever kept you up figuring out what it meant, subscribe. This one goes deeper than it looks. What Ethan didn't know yet was that the doorbell was never the real story. He added a second camera on the driveway. Nothing changed on the porch, but something new surfaced in the app's activity log, a small icon tied to the smart lock on the back door. Every night the man appeared out front, the back door unlocked from inside the house, held for exactly 90 seconds, then relocked. Nobody in the house admitted to touching it. That was the first crack in the story he thought he was watching. He pulled the full access history instead of just the alerts. The back door hadn't glitched. It had been opened with Megan's code. Ethan sat with that for a long time before he said anything. When he finally did, she didn't deny the door had opened. She said it must have been some automation she didn't understand. He let it go for 3 more nights, watching in silence, waiting for the explanation to hold or collapse. It collapsed on the 4th night, when the man on the porch finally lifted his head toward the lens, just long enough. Ethan knew that face. He'd known it his whole life. Kevin, his brother. The realization didn't land as shock, it landed as a slow, sick recalculation of everything he'd already quietly excused. The porch had never been where this happened. It was the decoy, a place for Kevin to be seen doing nothing, while the real door, the back one, opened for him 90 seconds at a time, night after night for a month. Ethan didn't confront anyone that week. He watched instead. He pulled the lock's history back further than the 31 nights the doorbell had caught. The pattern didn't start a month ago. It started 14 months ago, long before the cameras existed, long before any of this had a name he was willing to say out loud. 14 months. Long enough that this had never been a lapse. Long enough that it had become someone's routine. The next piece was worse. When Ethan mentioned what he'd found to his mother-in-law, hoping for outrage on his behalf, her face didn't move the way he expected. No shock, just a tired stillness, like someone bracing for a conversation she'd known was coming for over a year. She had known and said nothing, because in her mind, family was something you protected quietly rather than exposed. That was the moment the story stopped being about a man on a porch and became about a house full of people who had all quietly agreed that Ethan was the only one not supposed to know how his own home actually worked. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't wait up with the porch light on for confrontation. He changed every lock, front and back, and sent the new codes only to his own phone. He revoked Megan's access without a conversation first. He let the silence do what shouting never would have. Megan noticed within a day. She asked what was going on. Ethan told her only that he'd seen the full 14 months of it, and he wasn't interested in an explanation that had taken this long to become necessary. He didn't ask her to leave. He didn't file anything. Not yet. He simply stopped being the only person in the house who didn't know how the door really worked. The porch camera still runs. Nobody stands there anymore. The back door hasn't unlocked itself in 3 weeks. What stays with Ethan isn't Kevin's face turning toward the lens. It's the 90 seconds, logged over and over, that the system quietly recorded and nobody thought to mention. The truth was never at the front door. It was always in the part of the house he trusted enough never to check. In 14 years, I have not heard a better description of how most of these stories actually end. If you've ever caught a small inconsistency and let it go longer than you should have, you already know exactly how this one felt from the inside.